Welcome to yet another episode of Not Yet Mature, the podcast series talking about life and business, the mix between the two, and hopefully allowing the entrepreneur and founder to find some insights of what the path looks like, or rather, should look like ahead. XCAP has a vision that the ethical business that is formed around servitude and relational transactions should be given the advantage to exit the finite space and enter the infinite games. This, collectively, is our mission and our goal. Without further delay, let's dive into today's chat. Here with me, your host, founder of Exemplo Capital, Dion Richter. Like and subscribe. You know, the usual.
All right, everybody. So here we go again. And there's actually a couple of things that I want to talk about today. Talk about the rapid business pace, or the rapid pace of business. We want to put it like that, through all the ages, right? So I've noticed, so I'm part of a couple of networking events and things like that. So this is so cool. In conversation, I've noticed everyone, especially the black and white people, okay, not color black and white. I mean, thinking black and white, like your lawyers, accountants, people like that. That's really analytical, statistical, your blue people. I think that's a better color that I should say, making reference to Surrounded by Idiots. Brilliant book. Go read the book. In any case, so talking to these people, and I've noticed that they finally caught on the trend that knows that we need to market ourselves better when we're going to try this thing of marketing. We've got no idea where to start. Last year, we offered something called a marketing strategy. We still offer that service. But in our marketing strategy, what we did is we actually guaranteed customers and say, listen here, if you're using this side of the business, we guarantee you at least a 13% increase on revenue, and that the profit margin of it in 12 months should at least cover the cost of the service. So it was a win-win situation, and we even said we will refund you if not. That was a bold statement. It found out to be true. We stuck through that. Although a lot of people didn't go for the service, it was sort of as a sales gimmick, but it doesn't matter. People didn't understand that value because they see it as an industrial era phase mentality, that this is an expense towards my company and I'm fine for now. And we try to tell people what they're now experiencing for themselves, that it's not about being fine for now, it's being, adaptable to the infinite business, and in an era that the economical values and rules is not determined by you. You don't decide the rules. It's prepping you for that phase. And now people are starting getting it. But now, obviously, and this is the one thing that where I have got so much respect for certain clients, and not respect for the others, but really just pity them in the sense of some people understand you need to invest prophylactically rather than, oh my goodness, I need to rescue my business now. And with consultants, usually you definitely get bad ones, but you get great ones. And not only talking to us about us, there's really, really great consultants out there. It's always wise. It's like, I use the example as a fitness coach. It's always wise to have a coach. You don't only need them when you're overweight, like get them from the beginning. So in any case, that discussions are coming up a lot. That with the relational content that we talked about in the beginning, now moving towards the rapid pace of business. So building an infinite business while working so hard to establish relational connections between employees with customers, relational connections with customers, and taking that culture home is especially tough in today's rush. Yes, it does sound stereotypical, the rush of today, right? So, but seriously, is it ever going to stop? Especially from a business end. And if yes, when? And if no, why not? What is the upside to this, if not? exiting the finite towards infinite becomes harder each day because brands become stronger when it's individually centralized versus corporate identities. We talked about it in the previous episode. Well, slightly. We talked about subscription-based models, but the intro was slightly about corporate identity. I made a reference to it as well, saying that Daniel Presley talks about it with Stephen Bartlett on Diary of a CEO, and it's a 2-hour conversation that will blow your mind. So if you don't want to listen to my voice, if you find my voice annoying, but you put aside the time, pause this video, pause this podcast, go and listen to that instead. It is absolutely brilliant. But just asking those questions again: who is stronger brand? Who's stronger between Trump, the brand identity, or the Republicans? Elon or Tesla, Bezos or Amazon? You see what I'm getting at? So it is possible to truly build this infinite business today. And does the rush help us at all? Weird how that question already tells us what we're going to say and what we really don't need to say. Okay, so let's talk about the rush. First, I want to actually go back to what Presley and Bartlett talked about. I need to give credit to this podcast, guys. Sorry. I'm going to make quite a lot of references here. In my line of work, coaching a lot of building cultures, especially with sales teams, this put some kind of known light. So I knew these things, but it put known light into a deeper perspective. So when I work with people, I really am not only focused about the brand of the company, the culture of the company, but the culture of the individual. That's super important to me as well. Because business has shifted. And the shifts brings new economical rules. And throughout ages, the shifts were always, listen to this. Every single time there was a shift, it enforced a faster chain. So naturally, there's a speed up progression. Simply because of the ability to be faster. Not really intentionally. Didn't intentionally put people out of business, overall speaking, but it was able to move fast. Each era that lapsed forced a faster way of doing business simply because for the first time it could. The ability was there. It's the chicken and egg of the rush, I guess. With this one, we just know who was actually first. By the way, it was a chicken. The rush started because we could offer services and products faster. And the tempo kept upwards due to the value options that was added, fair trade and unfair competition, to the benefit of the consumer. And now today, the rush is not there because of its ability, it is there because of its necessity. The rush needs to be there. And it's not really a statement of rightfully so or wrongfully so. We are what we are. We currently in this nature where we see this in individuals where they're entitled, instant gratification, that's who we are. And it might be because of the rush, but regardless, we are there. That is a mentality. And the rush is there to serve. And it needs to be there. Otherwise, this whole thing collapses. So let's look at the 3 eras, the economical rules, the pace, and how it positively impacted the next era phase. And lastly, we will answer where we are heading towards and how it will look like in the infinite business in the digital era. Right, so that's the questions. That is the scope of today. So if you're ready, let's dive into that.
This is Not Yet Mature, and you are listening to Dion Richter. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe to our channels.
Right. I need to add that I believe building an infinite business in the industrial age was easier, but also really neglected. And now we are sitting with this legacy lack that individuals now need to pick up. Individuals who now need to influence habitat. And we did really talk a lot about the fact that for the individual to change the habitat is a really difficult thing. We've talked about the severe difficulty of that. The biggest challenge with the individual today, unfortunately, as I mentioned, is the instant gratification gratification and entitlements. The industrial era bred tremendous capitalists, and I mean this in a good way, in a very good way, that understood supply and demand trade and building businesses around that. The era of today, however, is the digital era, with new rules to the economical table, so to speak. So let's talk pace. The agricultural sector. All right, so yeah, I think let's start with the agricultural sector. The agricultural era naturally was slow, and really because this age was to sustain living, hand to work, work turned to crops, crops to mouth, and repeat. The industrial age had various origins, but to an extent was born exactly from agriculture as a solution to overcome socioeconomic obstacles and challenges, droughts, starvation, and more. But without going into the cause and transition, origins, and more, one thing we do know is 20 people working the fields must have been shocked, good and bad, when one person on a tractor could do so much more in way less time. And so was the birth of capitalism. Capitalism has always been highly favored or unfavored as the supply and demand changes. And soon, that was business. And we prep people in schools and university to go into this era. The faster we can supply or the more demand we can create, the better we can gain. The better we can create or the faster we can expand. And this, I mean as a neutral comment. We know that some intentions were great and some harmful. But even today still, hence the whole birth of James Carse's infinite games theory. It was born in this age. But the influence of supply and demand did do one thing. It speeded things up. Every day, the constant rush to be ahead of the curvature of supply and demand. And as history has shown us, every speed was either a result of resources or needed resources. Ironic, right? So as agricultural era required resources to expand and solve issues, it birthed the industrial era. And the industrial era with globalization gave us tech as a resource. And soon tech was just easily accessible because of the speed of supply and demand. Just think about the capabilities of what your smartphone can really do. So now today we sit in the digital age. Truth be told, things will only speed up because the more rushed things are, the more resources in the form of technology especially we develop to assist. And yes, the more jobs we create and the more problems we can solve. But the jobs, the solutions does look different to those in the industrial age. And that's the scary part. That's where the losses comes in. That's where the thoughts are at. Like, what's happening to these jobs? What's happening to these sectors? Like with the shift between agri and industrial, sectors are becoming obsolete. It's not fun to know or to hear, but more solutions are actually being raised. Really to cater for both ends of the spectrum, solutions to problems that we caused, of course, if I may add. The digital age is just faster and completely different. And why is that? Why is it important to know as an entrepreneur and business owner? We need to look at the following. How does the digital age differ? All right, so let's talk about the digital age is actually different. Because let's be honest, every era thought their shift was the most groundbreaking. Industrialists thought they changed the world, and they did. But the digital age, this is a whole new animal. You see, the difference is this. In previous ages, advancements were linear, one industry at a time. Agriculture to industrial to tech. But now everything is happening at once. the digital age is not a phase, it's an ecosystem, constantly evolving, self-correcting, and most importantly, integrating. It's not just one advancement leading to the next. It's AI, automation, cloud computing, blockchain, quantum computing, all accelerating, listen to this, together. And unlike before, where an invention had time to settle into the market, digital advancements compound exponentially. So while the industrial age was about producing more, the digital age is about integrating more data, more efficiency, more automation, more opportunity. And that's why your brand has endless opportunities. But building that brand and its authenticity needs to be incorporated today, not tomorrow. So, how is it faster? Speed, the unavoidable tempo of the digital age. And let's break that down. Remember this. Remember when businesses had years, decades, even to adapt to a shift. That doesn't exist anymore. The moment a new innovation drops, you either pivot, integrate, or become obsolete. And this is the real kicker. Tech advancements no longer wait for industries to catch up. Think about how softwares gets updated. Back in the day, you bought a program and you had it for years. Now everything is SaaS, services and software, monthly updates. AI gets smarter every day, every single minute. And we don't even control the speed anymore. Look at automations. It's not just about efficiency, it's about compounding efficiency. AI models aren't just faster, they self-improve, they learn, they refine. That's why we're never going back to slow, ever. That's why this is permanent. The industrial age sped up production. Sped up a word? Speeded up production. The digital age speeds up everything. So why is it important to know this? All right, so why does all of this matter? Why should a business owner, an entrepreneur, even a solo freelancer care about this speed? Because speed isn't just a condition of business anymore. It's a requirement. If you don't understand the tempo, you're playing the wrong game. But, and here's the most important part, because of this speed, new needs for tech, resources, and automation will always emerge, always. This means that while businesses feel the pressure to adapt, new industries, new roles, and new markets will continuously appear to support that adaptation. We've talked about this before. The rush isn't just happening, it's creating. The demand for speed creates demand for solutions, which means opportunity is happening at the same rate as disruption. So the big takeaway? The digital age isn't just fast, it's infinitely expanding. It will always be faster, but because of that, there will always be new opportunities. And that's the part we have to pay attention to. All of this. And I feel I need to mention this again. Because of the speed, new innovation, solution, resources, infrastructure, and skill sets are needed daily. Opportunity is growing and opening up. Your skill sets should just not limit you to a certain age. Countless times we reach out to varsities, pleading to incorporate soft skills and methods for these new demands and opportunities. To stop prepping for something that doesn't exist anymore. Every day I have to have the conversation with companies sitting with the problem of staffing. Guys, the opportunities are truly endless here. Your strategy, your approaches, and your reasoning as an individual, and especially as a company, should start innovating. Lekker.